Good afternoon. Looks like we got quite a few already jumping on, and we're going to go ahead and get going. So thank you everybody for joining us today to talk about unified collaboration with Marco. Today, our agenda, we'll do some introductions. What is unified collaboration as a service? Some of the features included, we'll go through a live demonstration, business benefits, and then a little Q&A session at the end. So as you have questions throughout the presentation, please IM those over in the chat, and we'll be able to ask those here at the end and get some live Q&A going on. So do a little introductions here. I'm Chris Darr. I'm the Senior Solutions Manager here at Marco Technologies. Joined with me today presenting is Eric Hassler, a Senior Solutions Sales Consultant, and Chris Kadoun, a Solutions Architect. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Kadoun to talk a little about what is unified collaboration.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah,
all right.
Good to go.
Sounds good. Well, good afternoon, everybody. We are here today to go through what unified collaboration as a service is in general, and then we'll go over Marco's actual offering for unified collaboration. So what is as a service? I always like to start out with this. As a service, there's a lot of different applications available in the market today as a service, essentially. And what defines as a service is some of these items right here. So cost efficiency, typically in an as a service environment or application, when you get that service, you don't have to install servers or applications or spend a lot of money up front to get the actual application installed. So there's cost efficiency by using as a service. It can be scaled up and down very easily. So as the company grows or shrinks, hopefully that doesn't happen, but in either scenario, the solution can be scaled up or down very easily as needed. Maintenance of support is usually included with as a service solution. So if something happens, there's an issue or whatever it may be, those costs are already being paid for as part of the service itself. Requires little to no customer intervention to set up and maintain. So that's one of the really nice things with these services. So upfront, traditionally when you 10, 20 years ago, you want to add an application, you had to research and figure out what solutions are available. You'd spend a whole bunch of time doing that, and then obviously once you actually buy the solution, you'd have to spend time setting it up, maintaining it, all those things. And as a service, essentially, the solution's already built. You just essentially usually log into a web interface and set up your users, and away you go. So it's very simple. Typically, these solutions are delivered over the internet, and the biggest thing is it allows customers to focus on their core business. So instead of having, again, all the time spent, researching and installing and setting up all these different, applications, whatever they may be, you spend less time doing that, obviously, and just use the actual application. So what is unified collaboration? Typically, and this is just in general, this isn't Marco's, specifically, but it includes things like calling, meetings, contact center, meeting rooms, file sharing, groups and spaces. So them are just some of the features that could be a part of a UC solution. Typically, there's many different application integrations available. So things like Salesforce or like Microsoft Dynamics, for instance, if you wanted to have a call come in and it opened up the customer's account screen automatically, for instance, that could be done natively without having to spend a bunch of time and money, doing that integration. Cloud-based. So unified collaboration typically is built in the cloud, so there's nothing really on site to install. It works with a variety of different things like desk phones, soft phones, mobile applications. You might have users that use one thing or the other, or maybe all of them, depending on the use case. And then there's always optional add-ins, depending on the UC solution, that can be added on that are not part of the base package. So getting into Marco's Unified Collaboration as a Service, ours is actually powered by Webex, which is Cisco. And the base product itself includes things like calling, meetings or Webex meetings, messaging or instant messaging, control of your devices, again, integrations. There's over 400 native calling features built into the solution. And then call recording, and obviously it's just one little thing, but another native feature, built-in redundancy. So, as part of this, they have many data centers across the nation that support the Webex calling application. So we're not reliant on a single, data center to support this. If one goes down or something happens, it automatically goes to the next. And then web desktop and mobile applications, depending on how you want to use it. And then what the Marco side of it brings in is really the as a service part, or the support, and wrapping it all together and making it complete. So the top couple there, unlimited usage and national coverage. So that's going to be like all the phone lines, the long distance, the minutes, the DIDs, 800 numbers. They're all built into the package. No MAC or no charge MACDs. So that's move, add, changes. So if you need a user updated, or maybe an auto attendant changed or something along those lines, that's all part of the service. It is US-based support, again, unlimited. Our support center is in the upper Midwest, so it's very, very easy to work with, right? Midwestern people usually speak pretty well. SIP handsets are a part of the offering, so we do offer Cisco handsets natively with this solution, and there is other options to add, things like Yealink or Polycoms, depending on what type of desk phones you want to use with the solution. Reporting and analytics are a key piece of it, so we can get reports, natively on usage and those types of things. On-site install and onboarding. So again, that's a really key piece of this. When a customer comes to us and we sell them, the Webex solution here, the actual installation piece is always a big question. If you don't have a partner to work with, for the design, the programming, on-site installation, if that's a need, that's all wrapped into the service as well. And then end user training. So we do have several different options there, like web-based training is included natively. And then we do have options to do like remote leader-led training, like via Webex, or we can do on-site training as well as part of the solution. And then flexible contract terms, whether the customer wants to do a 12-month or a 36-month agreement or whatever it may be, those are all options with the solution. So this is just a snapshot of what the Webex application actually looks like. This is on a Windows or a PC, essentially. Could be a desktop or a laptop. And Eric's going to go through the actual demo, of the actual tool itself. But doesn't matter how you access this tool, whether it's on a PC or a Mac or even the mobile applications. It looks the same. It has the same feature sets across all those different devices. Over on the left side here is kind of your navigation bar. I'll just name what these are really quick, and Eric's actually going to go into what they look like and how they work. But chat is included, so that's going to be your top. So like instant messaging, if someone's on the phone, you want to send them a message, you can do that right through the client. There's groups or spaces included. So if you have like a team that's working on a project, they could upload or create a space and then upload things like files or ask questions, and that's all kind of just ongoing, like an ongoing meeting, right? They can always go back and find stuff within that space. Contacts, so it does integrate with your email contacts, whatever that platform may be. The calling, which is what we're showing on the screen right now. A voicemail, and the last thing is going to be your calendar integration. So again, that'll integrate with whatever email platform you have, and if you have meetings on your calendar, they will also show up within the Webex application. So pretty neat. Like I had mentioned, there is iOS or iPhone and Android applications available for the mobile apps. And again, the feature set's the same across all those different ways you can access it. The cool thing about using the mobile applications is it allows you to like switch meetings between different devices. So let's say you're on your PC or your laptop in a meeting or a call, and you need to jump in your car and drive somewhere or go to your next meeting or whatever it may be. You can easily transition that, from one to the other or back and forth. Doesn't matter which way. And also, if you're just traveling and you need to join a meeting or call a customer, let's say, you can do that all through the Webex mobile app. And recently, they actually added a Apple CarPlay application that pops up on my screen in my car now too. So that's kind of cool, right on the CarPlay. So with the Webex application, it is natively a soft phone, right? And for those of you that don't know what a soft phone is, it's an application on your computer. Typically, you'd plug a headset into your laptop or desktop, whatever you're using, and you would call somebody, right? So there's no desk phone needed to do that. But you could also do desk phones. It could be one way or the other way or a mix of both, right? There's no particular way that's better than the other. If you're a business that needs desk phones or wants desk phones with your environment and they don't want to use the application on your computer, that's perfectly fine. Or you could be a mixture of both. But we do offer desk phones. Natively, we would do Cisco desk phones, and there's a variety of different phones that are offered with this solution. We do also support Yealink and Poly on certain bases, depends on the use case scenario. Headsets, there is many different headsets available. As part of the offering, we do have a select set of headsets available, as well as third-party headsets. So if there's headsets in place today, more than likely they will work with the solution as well. And then the other really neat part about the Webex solution is Rooms integration. So Cisco has many different available options for like boardrooms, meeting rooms, whatever it may be. And you can see some just examples on the screen here, like these sound bars, but they have microphones built in, they have a video camera built in, and then obviously the audio built in, and you could plug that into your HD screen that you might have in that room already, and that would be a Webex native integration. You could join into a Webex meeting very easily. They also do support digital whiteboards. So if you haven't seen one of those, they're pretty neat, but you can hang them on the wall in your meeting room. You join a Webex and you can do all your whiteboarding with I don't know if they're magnetic pens or what, but you can draw on the screen and it'll appear in the Webex session. So really neat solutions available with this. There's all kinds of different options just depending on the customer's needs. And now I think we're going to transition over to Eric Hassler, and he's going to do a live demo for us.
Thanks, Chris. So here is a live window of the Webex soft phone running on a Windows desktop. First thing I'll point out is you might notice this is running in a browser window. That is solely because I am on a Webex trying to present the Webex application, so I'm just doing that within a remote desktop session. But this would run locally on your computer. To take a deeper dive into some of those features that Chris touched on, this here is the messaging component. So this is where you're able to collaborate with others inside, or if you wish, outside your organization as well, if you open up those permissions. Here, there's a few options for that collaboration. Right now, you can see that I've been chatting with Chris, and I can use this to determine, hey, is Chris available? And if he's available, he might let me know, and I can easily escalate this from a chat directly into a phone call with the icon up here. And that would launch the call utilizing the speakers and microphone in my laptop or headset that I have connected. I also have the option to escalate that to an ad hoc video call or launch a screen share with audio, all right here at my fingertips. I also have the option to do group chats. So here you'll see I have one for a team chat. So this has multiple people as part of that group. We have Chris again, as well as Chris Darr. And what's nice here is this is a space where we can collaborate on, a shared project, for example. And anything that you post in here from a content perspective gets pulled through, meaning you'll see that there are links and documents posted in here. When we click over on the content tab, it pulls those right over so they're easily accessible. If you've ever used some other chat applications, sometimes things that get posted get lost as more and more communication takes place, and kind of leaves you scrolling up through the window trying to find something that had been posted in the past. This gives you an easy tool to be able to just go in and find where was that document, here it is, and move on with your day. You'll notice here that my team chat session, that is under my favorites. This is customizable by the user, so you can move different chat sessions in and out of the favorites or sort them however you wish. Really easy to just move someone to a favorites. Now Chris is part of my favorites group, and I can shrink down to only see those elements that are really important to me at that time. I can also parse down by just my direct messages. So this would be my one-on-one communications, spaces, which would be my group chats. Public is an area where you can have public spaces created for your organization that people can find and join on their own. So perhaps you would have a all company group and staff can choose to join that if they'd like and be able to collaborate with fellow employees in that space. As we move down the left side, this is where you'd create your teams. So if you have a group of people that are frequently working together on projects, sometimes it's helpful to put them into a group as a team. If I jump into my sales and engineering, this brings me again to an option to get to my team chats. Could be my team chat, my technical deep dive for things that are a little deeper level, but it's highly customizable so you can create different groups for those different shared projects. This can integrate with the calendar as well. You'll see I sent Chris an invite for our technical deep dive on the 30th at 10:30. That is done simply by clicking the schedule meeting button up top, and that will go ahead and pull up the window where we can select a time. This can integrate into your Office 365. If that's done, you'll actually be able to see then all of that calendar availability show up for the participants as well to be able to see when it is a good time to host this meeting. We continue moving down the left side. We have our contacts. Again, much like our chat spaces, this is totally customizable on a per user basis. You'll notice I have one created for my team. And within this space, I am able to see the presence of others in the organization. So I can see the green dot for Chris and Chris Demo, that they're both green and available. If they were in a meeting, I would see red, or if they're in a do not disturb or busy mode like Chris Demo is, you can see that right on the screen. And I know that probably shouldn't be reaching out to Chris right now until after 1:48. There he is in do not disturb. So any attempt to reach out to him would not provide the notification on his end. And then as we get into the meat of the calling application, here on the calling tab, you'll notice I have my call history on the left side. This is all of my calls. I can also parse that down to just my missed calls. And then on the right side is where I have the dial pad. In this window here, I can type the phone number that I'm looking to call, or I can click on the digits themselves on the dial pad. I also have the option to search by a user in my organization just by typing their name. So I don't need to remember the extension of the user that I'm trying to reach. And again, you'll see that status pulls through. So even as I'm trying to just call them directly, I can see, are they actually even available to take my call, making my communication a little bit more efficient as I'm not calling someone when a call is probably just going to go to voicemail anyway. You'll notice I have an option here for my calling device. Right now I'm set as my computer. So again, that would utilize my headset as that audio source. I can switch that to a physical desk phone. So this solution is not just the application, it can be physical hardware. Right now with that switched over to my Cisco 8841, the handset right over my shoulder is now my audio device. So if I launch a call out of here, I'll actually get called on my phone first. I can answer that, talk on that phone, but it gives me the call control on the desktop. So I can still transfer the call, put them on a hold, be able to see the status of others in the organization right on the desktop, but still have the phone on my shoulder. So I'll switch that back. I'll show you a call coming inbound. One thing to point out as this call comes in is that the solution does natively include some call queuing capabilities, so a call center type functionality. So if your organization utilizes any of those, it can be helpful for those agents to be able to see where that call is coming from. In this scenario, you can see it's coming through the IT office supplies queue, and it appends that information to the originating caller ID. So I can still see who's calling and what queue they called in on. So we'll bring that call back in and answer it this time. So now I'm on an active call, and when we're within this window, you have the option to bring up your keypad. Perhaps you hit an auto attendant, need to press 1 for sales. You would do that here within this window. And then your common call control features are here. So that includes putting that caller on hold, transferring that call to someone else, or conferencing in another party. We select transfer. Here we're presented with that similar dial pad. We can choose to search for someone within our organization or transfer that outside the organization. And again, that same presence pops through. So if I search for Chris, I can again see that he is green and available, and I have the option to send him this call as a consulted or warm transfer, where I could say, hey, Chris, I have Jeff on the line. Are you able to take his call? And then merge those together. Or I can do a cold transfer where I just transfer that call directly over to Chris, and either he takes it or it hits his voicemail. One nice thing when we talk about soft phone capabilities is that it's also available for your mobile devices. So you'll see here, this is my Android phone logged in as the exact same user. So I have that same call history information available on my mobile device. But if I were to go make a call out, you'll see this dial pad here. When I call out there, that is going to send this call out utilizing my work number. So whether it's my own individual phone number or the main line of the business, depending on how that's configured, it will show that, not my personal cell phone number. In addition, you'd see the pull call button here. That's an example that Chris gave where perhaps you're on a call on your physical desk phone or maybe the soft phone application on your desktop, and it's running long. You need to get in the car and run to your next meeting. You could hit that pull call button. That's immediately going to move that phone call over to your mobile device. You can hop in the car, chat with someone on Bluetooth while you're running to that next meeting. That caller on the other end doesn't hear any hold music or beeps or pops. It's just immediately connected as it pulls that call over, giving you that flexibility to move around and still be in communication. When we look at the call queuing section, there's a toggle down here where your users that are agents can log themselves in and out of queues. You as an administrator do have an option to lock this down as well. So if you had perhaps specific individuals that were answering the main line, we could gray this out so that they're always a member of that queue and always available to take calls. From an outbound call perspective as well, you can control your outbound caller ID. Right now, you'll see I am calling as Eric Hassler and my phone number. I can change that to the main line, where that could be advantageous if I'm calling a client and maybe they missed my call and they hit that callback button on their phone. They're going to call back to this main line. Could be the main line or the primary number of one of your queues, for example, and they call back there instead of directly to my individual DID or phone number, helping to ensure that your customer reaches whoever is available to assist them. And as an end user, I am able to control my call forwarding settings. So right now, calls aren't forwarded. They're just going to follow normal behavior. I do have the option to trigger that to send them all to voicemail as well. So it's like a do not disturb function. As we continue our path down the left side, next we have voicemail. You'll see here that you are delivered the voicemail with the transcription. So it can help give you an idea of what that call was about without needing to listen to it. If you do like to listen to it, you have the option here to play right within the application, and then also return that call here with a single click right from the app. Voicemail can also be delivered via email. That can include the same transcription as well as that audio file attached to the email. Or if a user prefers, they can utilize the blinking red light on their Cisco phone. And that can be tailored on a per user basis. So some users might prefer one method over the other. We can configure that however it works best for that individual. Lastly, we have the calendar. Again, if you integrate this with your Office 365, you'll see all of those meetings here and have the option to join those right within the application. You also have an option to launch an ad hoc meeting at any time simply by clicking this Start a Personal Room meeting. And you can send anyone this link here, and they click on that link to join. They'll be pulled directly into your meeting. So I'll flip over real quick then towards the administrative side. A few things to point out here. First, this is the full-blown administration of your phone system. But being a managed solution, you do not need to ever go in here if you do not want to. You can always open a ticket with Marco via the portal, call in, email, and we are here to manage that system for you. However, we do give you the keys to the car. So if you want to take it for a drive, make some of these changes yourself, you absolutely can. And I'll walk through just a couple things here to show you how easy and intuitive that can be. So first, I'm looking at some of the analytics around calling. This one here, for those of you that are more on the IT side, you notice there's a lot of very granular detail around call quality. I like to point this out because these are the same type of tools that are available to you as well as to the Marco support team. So, say someone called in and said, hey, I was having difficulty on a phone call. It was a choppy call. What happened? Well, this is the data that allows us to drill in and understand, was it on a wired connection? Was it on Wi-Fi or cellular? Who was the internet provider? What was the quality of that connection? And all of that detail can help as we troubleshoot any type of voice issue to be able to say, yeah, that definitely was a challenge with the internet. We need to contact that provider and have them, improve the performance of that connection. This gives you the data to be able to make that call instead of getting caught in that finger pointing game saying, nope, it's your phone system. Nope, it's your internet. Now we can really drill down to the root cause very easily. You also get deep analytics when it comes towards the calling behavior. Again, some of the call center functionality that's available here, just included in the platform, can show you the queue stats. So what is your customer experience like, as well as the agent stats, where we would be looking at the performance of your employees. When we look at the queue stats, you have those common call center KPIs at the top here with your total answered calls, abandoned calls, your percentages, your average wait time. Right now, this is looking at that detail from across all queues. Utilizing the filter option up here, you can drill down to just a specific queue. As I scroll down, you'll see it's, again, those same data points, but presented in a graphical manner. And if you're a person that really likes the raw data, you can gather that here at the bottom and even export that as a spreadsheet for further data analysis. When we look over at the call queue agent stats, this is where we're looking at the performance of those agents, of your employees that are members of those queues. Again, this is showing that detail for all agents. Utilizing that filter section, we can drill down to an individual agent. But this gives you an idea of the average time trends for those agents. And then as we scroll down, we can see like the total answered calls, average talk time. So we can really get an understanding of how are those employees performing. Perhaps, hey, why is Eric only on, his average talk time is 5 minutes on a call, but Chris's is 2.5. All right, what are they doing differently? Do we have a coaching opportunity there? And then to give you one last idea on how easy it is to make changes within your phone platform, I'll hop over and look at a common function like the auto attendants. So let's say you have a main auto attendant. Your callers call in, thanks for calling ABC Company, press 1 for sales, 2 for support. That menu option is as simple as configuring a dropdown. So if we wanted to change this to transfer to a sales, we would simply pick that transfer call, search for our sales groups in here, or our call center queue. We hit save. We just updated that auto attendant. So you don't have to have an advanced degree in telephony and phone systems in order to make simple day-to-day changes within the platform. Even things as simple as a hunt group. Maybe you have different members that are joining a hunt group at different times. It's really as easy as searching for a user and hitting save. This user is now part of our main hunt group. So if an employee is out for the day or out sick and you want to remove them from that group and maybe assign somebody else, you as an admin can come in and just make that change yourself. Lots of great info there. I will stop the share and kick it back to you, Chris.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. All right, so just a couple more things here I wanted to talk through. So Business benefits. So this is always a question that comes up, we know, when we're talking about any new solution. Specifically with unified collaboration, these are some really good benefits. So predictable cost model, that's a huge one. With this solution, essentially, it's a per user per month charge, right? Depending on the type of user or the feature set the user has. So it's really easy to predict, hey, we're going to scale our company up by 10 employees, next month or something like that. What's that going to cost us, to add in, that many more users to the UC solution? You'll know up front, right? It's this much per user to add that, and that includes all your support, everything that would be wrapped around, the UC features essentially. Simplified billing is a big one. So with the UC solution, since it's a cloud-based system and it includes all of your trunks, your phone numbers, all that stuff, it's going to be all of your support, the cost, for the user account and features, but it also includes the telephone services behind that, right? So you don't have to, go out to your phone company and get another DID or add another phone line or those types of things. It's all going to be consolidated onto the one simple bill, essentially. Another big one, a lot of people don't keep this, in the forefront, but the E911 compliance. So there's some newer laws out there, like the Ray-Bombs Act and the Carries Law, that a lot of older phone systems don't comply with, right? And inherently with this solution, we are compliant on both of those. Ray-Bombs Act, that's a little bit more complicated one. That one's around, wherever the user is, if they dial 911, it has to show the correct address, right? Well, that's simple if you're sitting in an office, but if you have users working at home using, their soft phone, most companies don't have every employee's home address registered in their system, right, to show the correct address. So this system does comply with that. So, if you have a user working from home, they'll get a little pop-up on their screen, essentially, where they can add their home address, so it shows the correct address, and you'll be compliant, essentially. And then the Carries Law side of that, that's more around dialing 911. You have to allow 911 to go out. And then the second part of that is you have to notify someone within the company that the 911 call is made. So if someone's in the back room, they dial 911, the ambulance shows up to the front door. The receptionist needs to know, hey, Johnny in, the back dialed 911. He's right over there. Go over there and help him. And that's obviously part of the system. And then some other things around like call recording, for instance. The call recording solution built into the Webex platform is called Darr. I'll throw that out there, but it does have some AI-based functionality like sentiment analysis or emotion detection. There's lots of different ways or things people call that, but that can be set up, alerting, transcription. There's lots of different things you can do that are in the AI-based world now. So that is pretty cool. Call center, there is built-in queues like Eric just showed, right into the system. So, if you wanted to set up an ACD queue or a call queue, there's, again, lots of different terms for that. That is native. And then the analytics and all those things are built right into that dashboard, again, that he showed. And then mass notification is another big one. So inherent in this solution, again, we do have mass notification options available. And that could be used for both emergency and routine communication. So it could be as simple as, hey, I want to send a text message out to all of our employees that, hey, we're closed today because there's a snow day or something like that. Or it could be emergency situations, right? Someone opened the back door. I want to alert a group of people that the door was opened, or maybe an intruder comes in the front door. We could put a button on a phone or on a screen or something like that that could be pushed that would alert people either silently or loudly, depending on what you want. But there's all kinds of different use cases for that, and that is getting natively a part of the solution or an option to add on to it. And then the last part is really just covering off on the support. So again, this is a Marco managed solution. So all of the support is included with it. The help desk is staffed 24/7. So if you call 1-800-MARCO, there's always going to be a body there that's going to answer that call for you. And it's not going to be a third-party call center or anything like that. It is serviced by Marco staff or support, right? So nothing's outsourced, et cetera. And that's available for anybody on the solution. But you can email, you can call, and then you also get an online portal that you can log into to manage all of your tickets. You can see case notes, all those different things, depending on what's going on. Service metrics, I'm not going to go through those, but you can see, we do track service metrics. I do have a slide that shows all kinds of details on that. If anybody wants to see it, I can show that. But we do track our live answer rates, our remote remediation rates, et cetera. How fast we, fix an issue, those types of things. And then the why Marco, obviously, we've been talking about that the whole session here, but there's lots of different things there. The biggest, like service level targets and SLAs, are a part of the solution as well, and those can be shared if anyone is interested in that. So that's all I have, and I think we're going to move on to questions here. So Kim, are you still around? Is there any questions?
Yes, I'm still here. And just a reminder, I dropped in the chat, but if you do have any questions that you want answered, please go ahead and drop those in now, and then we'll ask some great questions. There are already lots of good ones coming in. So the first question that we had, Eric Hassler, I will give you this one. But what is, the question is, what would be the main benefit for this service over Microsoft Teams?
Absolutely. Yeah, I see a few benefits that would exist over Microsoft Teams. I think first would be analytics. Second, fully managed solution, and Teams. Third, there's Teams integrations that are available. So to expand upon that, the first one being analytics. What I showed within Control Hub, that's just natively available within the platform. When we look at a Teams calling environment, can require customers to be kind of a Power BI expert to go in and build out and define how do we even create these reports, and then once they're created, how do we modify them once they've been created? That can be challenging for some organizations. Second, the fully managed, like Chris said, this is supported by Marco with our staff here, primarily in the Midwest, as opposed to in a Teams calling environment where you might be calling Microsoft for support or a traditional phone carrier for dial tone support. This is all managed by Marco. So one call to us and we're here to take care of everything end to end. And then thirdly, if your organization is way down that road with Microsoft Teams, we can absolutely do some integrations with Teams and even have options to disable things like the chat and meetings capability within the Webex application. So it really is just your calling platform and allows you to get the rock solid support and analytics and everything else we talked about while still utilizing Teams as your collab tool. So it can kind of go both ways.
That's great. Next question we have, you mentioned this is on a per user basis, but are there different levels with different feature sets for some users versus others, or do you everyone has to be on the same level?
Perfect. Yeah. So there is flexibility there in the licensing. So we can license it on a per user basis. Maybe you have someone that's a powerhouse and needs to host wide scale meetings for hundreds of people. You can license them at that level, and then other users, they might just be a basic user that needs a phone that rings reliably and voicemail. Awesome. Let's license them for just those features that they need. That way we're being as economical as possible and just delivering the service that your organization really needs.
Perfect. And I'm not sure who this one will go to, but do we have to change phone companies if we move to this offering?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So yeah, as part of the service, we will take over the telephone lines or phone numbers, essentially. So if you're paying, a phone company today, whatever your local phone company is for, phone service, PRI, SIP, whatever it may be, delivered into your local phone system, as part of the service, the long distance, the DIDs, all that's included with it. So essentially, we would do a process we call porting, where we would move the phone numbers from the old phone company onto our solution. And again, all the minutes and the DIDs, et cetera, are all included in that package. So you wouldn't necessarily need to pay your existing phone company any longer for your DIDs and phone numbers, essentially.
Okay. And as I say, Chris, this might be another question for you. We have an on-prem system today. Not sure that we can move to the cloud yet because of infrastructure right now, but looking at it, is this still an option? Because you mentioned it was cloud.
Yeah. Yep. So, many of the customers that migrate to this solution are going to be their traditional on-prem, PBX customers. They probably don't have any, knowledge of the cloud-based phone systems. But yeah, we do migrate customers from on-prem to cloud every day. Depending on the scenario, some customers might migrate a few users to start, and then they migrate the entire company. We do recommend, if you're going to move, it would be the entire company that would move, right? POC is one thing, but then long term, you definitely want to move to this or whatever it is, the cloud-based solution completely. So.
Okay. And then what are some common support questions that come into Marco since you help with the management?
Hey, a lot of things are just, easy. Like, hey, it's Christmas tomorrow. Will the greeting change when, a customer calls our main phone number or something like that? Those things can all be taken care of through the help desk very simply, or managed on your own. If you have access to the administration interface that Eric was showing there, it's very simple to add those things and add schedules so the greetings automatically change, etc. It could be things as simple as, we have a new employee starting tomorrow. We're gonna reuse the existing handset that's sitting on Susie's old desk or something like that. Maybe they need the name updated or voicemail reset, etc. Those things can all be accomplished through the help desk. So very simply, or you can do them yourself again if you're comfortable with that.
Perfect. And that ties into a question that was asked: are we able to have full control over user account creation, modification, etc.? For example, will we be able to add pictures to accounts ourselves, or would we have to submit a ticket to Marco to do that?
Yeah, I can take that one. So you can have full control over your account, over your phone system for anything that doesn't have another billing charge associated. So if you needed to create a new user and you didn't have a license associated, much like most platforms, you just open up a ticket with us to get that user license added. But as far as the rest of the management, adding profile pictures or maybe adding a background to physical phones like the 8851 behind me, you have full control over that and can make those changes yourself. What's nice there is that you don't have to, though. So perhaps, on most days you're there managing your system yourself, taking care of things, but another fire pops up somewhere else, you can always open that ticket with Marco, and we're here to be an extension of your team and make those changes when you request them.
Perfect. And then, Eric, we did get a question around just HIPAA compliance. So can you answer that one for us?
Yeah, it's an easy one. Yes, HIPAA compliant.
Perfect. That is our last question today that I don't see any more coming in. Just a reminder, we are recording this session, so we are going to actually host this and send it back out to everyone who attended, so you will have access to this. And then Chris, Darr, I will let you pop back on and you can talk more about it.
Great, I think I'm unmuted, possibly. So yeah, like was alluded to there at the end, we're here to help you and walk through and talk all about the solution. We can go more in depth in a demo, doing discovery. So our team is here to help, and this could be the right solution and it might not be the right solution. So we do have a plethora of options within our ecosystem, and we want to make sure that we get the right solution that meets your business needs and your growth and what you're trying to accomplish. So feel free to reach out to your Marco technology advisor. They know how to get full access to these gentlemen here on the call. We also have others on our team that are here to support you. And we thank you for your time today. And I think that's a wrap.
Chris, can I sneak one more question in?
Yeah,
One came in
go
before we
ahead.
started. Yes. How far in advance would you recommend starting a plan if we're going to start moving to the cloud or a unified collaboration?
Who wants to take that one? I can take that one, actually. It's depending, right? So depends on the amount of users and the time. It's on standard, when we sign a project, we always say it's about 60 to 90 days, depending on your availability and our availability to walk through the call flow design. It's never too early to start planning, depending on your budgeting cycle as well. So if you're looking to do something within the next year, I would say we should probably start having generalized conversations now. If you're looking 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, we might be able to wait a little bit. But At minimum, you know, from a transition from the current solution to the new solution, you're going to be looking at probably 60 to 90 days, depending on your scheduling. And then, you know, planning, never plan too much, never plan too far ahead.
Great. I thought that was a good one to end on too, because that's a really
Yeah,
great
I agree.
question. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you again, everyone, for your time. And as I mentioned, we'll send out a follow-up message with the recording, and everyone have a wonderful day.